Hello, my name is TJ, and this is going to be called the Fire Me Podcast. And today's episode is going to be my first episode. Hopefully, I'm going to be posting this at some point. We're going to be talking about job burnout. We're going to also talk about being a stay-at-home parent, specifically being a stay-at-home dad, and what it means, some of the struggles, and kind of get into a little bit of that. To start off, I used to work at a Fortune 50 company. It was a commercial aircraft electronics repair shop. So all of the power systems that are on any aircraft that's up in the air, I would be able to repair, test, and recertify them under the FAA, and I would send them back out to the actual companies to maintain and do any of that. So it was pretty strenuous, a little stressful. Nevertheless, it was a job. I'm thankful for the time that I was there, but it was definitely not a good time. I was at that company for about 4 years, and I was at the same position I was hired at. So for 3 years, I remained at a level 3 technician. I had applied for multiple other positions there to do calibration work, to do engineering work, even like higher level technician work. Unfortunately, I was not selected for any of those for some reason I'm not aware of. I have at that point, I had 9 years of experience, but for some reason I was not qualified to be the next level. For some reason, I don't understand. The job requirements for the next level for my position was actually 4 years of experience. So I was hired for my position. I had 5 years of experience, and they hired me as a level 3. I came in right off the street as a level 3. And even after an additional 4 years there, I could not get a promotion to level 4 for some reason. There were many instances where other people were hired right off the street as level 4s. They were hired as level 5s. And for some reason, I didn't understand. They were doing less work. They were doing a lower quality of work than I would put out. And they would have a lot more issues with the shop. They would get a lot of write-ups. There was this one guy, he was not certified to do any solder work on any of the equipment. But however, he was very, he was very impatient and very stubborn, I would say, kind of stuck in the old school methods of electronics repair. So he felt the need to do his own solder work without being certified under the company or the FAA. This led to a lot of damaged parts. We lost a lot of equipment. The company ended up losing a whole lot of money also because we would have to replace the parts for the customer. And we'd also have to warranty them because they're coming brand new, or not brand new, but refurbished from us, the manufacturer. That guy who did that solder work, and he destroyed boards, lost a bunch of parts, like in-house troubleshooting parts for us to use. He lost a bunch of those, broke a lot of those too. He was hired on as a level 2, and under 1 year, they moved him up to a level 4. I don't know how that happened, but I do know that my job, the management team, they heavily favored the people who wanted to work overtime. And fortunately for that guy, he would work 12 hours for, I would say, 5 to 6 days a week. So he definitely maxed out on all of the overtime, and it, I don't know, I guess it worked out in his favor. It just didn't work out for me. I was a part-time student, and I definitely took my education more seriously, and I had that as a higher priority than that job at that point, so I have no regrets for prioritizing myself and my education for that. At first, the job wasn't too bad. My 2 managers that I had, they were great. They weren't the nicest people, I would say, but they were very fair with the work that they asked me to do, and they were more than generous with the raises and awards that I had received. At that time, I was doing lead work because I had two leads that were not present in the shop. I had one of them. He was out on paternity leave, so he just had a baby, and then the other lead was out on medical leave, so he was also not able to work. So on top of doing the lead work, I was also doing the calibration. I was working with the engineering team to redo the entire tool program that we had going on there. And I like I said, I was in charge of the calibration, so I made sure that the entire shop calibration was up to date. I worked very closely with the engineering team too. There was a lot of things that I did that I I was really involved in, and because the lack of gratitude at that point, I was very disgruntled. I got very disgruntled about the lack of return. It was a lot of effort for me to go in and do all those things, but the company did not want they didn't want to pay. They didn't want to acknowledge that I had done those things either. So fast forward I would say a couple years, and the whole management team decided that they were going to kind of shake everything up. So my previous manager ended up leaving, and then we got a new general manager, and then I also ended up getting a new manager for my cell and a new supervisor. Luckily for me was that I had they came in very gung ho. You know what I mean? They came in and they wanted to change everything. They wanted to do a complete 180. They wanted to fix the cell, everything that was going wrong with it. You know what I mean? So they came in, and I had a lot of high hopes for these two. They ultimately failed in delivering on any of that. So they came in, they sat me down, and essentially they wanted me to give my opinion on the shop, what was going on, and any feedback that I had. They wanted it to be unfiltered. They wanted it to be raw, and they wanted it to be they pretty much didn't want any of the fluff in it. They wanted to know exactly what was going on. Me thinking that it was going to be beneficial to me, because I was hoping that it was going to make my life easier working in this cell. I fell in line, and I started documenting everything, sending the emails that they wanted, and I was all about it. I was like, oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be really good for me. Maybe I'll finally get promoted. I'll get a good raise, something like that. Well, I was completely wrong. They took everything that I had, and they kind of used that as like documentation for me having an attitude. They were not very understanding of where I was coming from, because they wanted me to be they wanted it very like unfiltered. Like I told them straight up every time what was going on. I sent the emails, and eventually it got to the point where we were trying to iron out things through the cell ourselves. So we would always send emails back and forth, and we would copy the manager and the supervisor. We would go through like, this is what happened, this is how we do it, and this is what you did, and this is how we can fix it. Pretty much a lot of like documenting and kind of going through some different type of conflict resolution. They got to the point where this supervisor, it wasn't the manager, it was a supervisor, he would say that I was being more destructive than constructive to the team. And at that point, that's when I finally dropped out of the race. I was like, what, my input was not received well, and it wasn't appreciated and taken the way that they wanted it to be also. And I was very kind of taken back, because I was giving them what they wanted. I wasn't a huge fan of how things were handled. And that's when I started getting even more disgruntled. You know what I mean? I started focusing more on myself, my health, my education. It was around this time that my wife and I decided we wanted to start a family. Lo and behold, I want to say the beginning of 2023. That's when we started working towards trying to start a family. Our son was born in the beginning of December. At that time, I was in a dark, I would say like a dark place. I was feeling very unmotivated to do anything, and I was very down about how I was being treated at work. and I would bring it home, and I would complain to my wife, and it was it was rough on both of us. Even um, before getting pregnant and everything, we had uh, we had decided that after she completes her program and she graduates, I would quit my job, and she would go to work. She wanted to get the experience. We were very fortunate to be in a situation to where I was able to take so much time off, and I was able to be there for the entire pregnancy, because she was very sick too. Fast forward to when he was born, my job had offered paternity leave. It was 4 weeks. They wanted it to be not consecutive, so I'd have to take them in weekly increments. But um, I was not about to do that. I had taken the first week as soon as he was born, and then I used up the rest of my vacation for that year, and then I used 3 weeks in a row, and then my first day back, I returned from the leave, and I submitted my termination of employment for that Friday. So I came back on a Tuesday, and my last day was a Friday. Ever since then, I have no regrets. Um, Obviously, it was kind of tough. A newborn, first time parent and everything. It was hard to adjust, but because I was able to take all that time off while getting paid and everything, and all the company benefits, and still so the insurance and everything. My wife and I were able to learn how to be parents all together, for the first couple months. So by the time I left my job, it wasn't a hard transition to become a full-time like stay-at-home parent, because I had already been doing it for about a month and a half. And then eventually my wife, she decided she was ready to go back to work, and it was tough when she did start going back, but I like to think that we have a good schedule now. For the days that she does work, we have my son and I, we have our routines to where he and I are able to have some fun, and um, or he's taken care of really well. Like right now, he's taking a nap. It's middle of the day. It's time for his second nap today, and it's all about timing, making sure everything is he's fed, all that kind of stuff. So as a new parent, I can't stress enough how much yeah, how much you should try and just stick it out. Try to stick to a schedule as much as you can, but no matter what, the baby's going to tell you what they want, when they need it, and everything. So you got to stay flexible while trying to stick to a schedule. And one of the main things that I try to do as the main parent that's going to be taking care of him for the next couple of years at least, because I'm on a wait list for a program at school anyway. So while my wife is going to be getting her experience in her career, I'll be taking care of the baby. Being a homemaker, and teaching him is some of the first things he's going to learn. So I do music time with him. We do at least 20 to 30 minutes of like FaceTime, where I play like the ukulele, or I play the piano, or something. I play music for him, just to kind of like stimulate his mind in a different way. And then we'll do either like a story time, or we'll do he would do tummy time, but then he learned to roll over. So now we just kind of I just kind of put him down and let him roll around and do his thing. And yeah, it's a lot of time management, I would say. Also kind of watching his cues and trying to figure out what he needs when he needs it. Also trying to maintain the house. I want to keep the house clean and make sure that my wife is stress free as much as possible. But we have 2 dogs also, so keeping up with their grooming and making sure that the house is clean at the same time with all the needs of the baby too. It's definitely harder than I was expecting, and it's also probably the most rewarding thing that I've ever done. I definitely have no regrets about becoming a stay-at-home dad. There's no salary, there's no hourly wage, there's nothing that I would trade for this. This is the most important moments of my son's life at this point, and I feel like they're the most critical too. I want to make sure that I teach him how to be a good person or something, I guess, how to be, how to handle himself and handle, whatever life is going to throw at him when it decides to throw some things, and the younger years, I would always hear people say, enjoy your sleep, enjoy your alone time or your personal time and stuff like that. And I never really understood until now. One of the things that I would struggle with a lot is there was a little bit of a feeling of isolation, I would say, from going from working with a team and everything to having just my wife and son. You know what I mean? So there's a lack of like socialization that I didn't expect to kind of hit me, but it did. I cope very well with it. I'm able to talk to my family, my wife's family. I do have coworkers that I would stay in touch with. There's one of them. There's the Canelo fight this weekend, and I just messaged him and I was like, so who do you got this weekend? And he's like, oh, Canelo all day. And I'm like, so I'm able to talk to him. There's another friend of mine. He's been I aside from my wife, I've had no better friend than this guy. He's stuck with me since the fourth grade, and we keep in touch. We talk as much as we can, but life does happen, so because he is available for me to get in contact with whenever I need some dad advice, anything like that. There's options, there's ways to cope with I would say I wouldn't necessarily say like the postpartum blues for the dads, but I would definitely say there's it's definitely something. It's definitely a struggle that dads would have to go to. I see a lot of threads not about, but it's mostly for like stay-at-home mothers. They have their views on things, which it's very very similar to the being a stay-at-home dad. There's nothing different. People look down on stay-at-home dads for some reason. I don't understand. It's I do know that it is new. However, it's not unheard of. And for me, seeing different generations of my family specifically, where the man was the homemaker at home, so the wife would go to work. They were willing to do these things, and the man wanted to stay home. So there was definitely that influence for me to not be afraid to take this leap into doing this, and I don't know. There's a lot of outlets for people to go to, but I feel like it's still not the most common thing for a stay-at-home dad to talk about his feelings, how he's feeling about. It's not all the glory that people are making it seem, Like there's some people on freaking TikTok, or YouTube. There's this one dude. All he does is he's a stay-at-home dad. He has 3 kids, and I don't know how he gets his kids down or to hang out or something, but he cleans. You know what I mean? So that's what his content's about. He cleans. There's other ones too where they tell what it's really about, and hopefully I can get into a little bit of that, a little bit of a day in the life kind of thing. I think that's it. I just wanted to kind of like lean in here and really just kind of get my feet wet and talking to the camera a little bit. My wife would always tell me that I'm pretty good with words, but me, I feel like I'm not the greatest at speaking. I really do want to work on that. I want to be less awkward. I want to be more willing to like speak to a camera, speak to people, especially the career that I'm going to be going into. I'm going to have to be dealing with people, and nobody going into that area wants to be made uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Going into a program to take X-rays, MRIs, CTs, ultrasounds, and stuff like that too. So you want to, I want me having been in having to go into like multiple X-rays, multiple MRIs and CTs, those are loud, scary machines, and it helped out a whole lot when people made me feel comfortable. They were able to talk to me through those things. And I just want to develop my communication skills to do that. That's kind of it. Like I said, this is the Fire Me podcast. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that name yet, but my name is TJ. Hopefully you tune back in. See you next time.